Hi everyone, it's Alex Nottingham, founder and CEO of AllStar Dental Academy, and we have with us Heather Nottingham, VP of Training, and our phone skills instructor. Welcome, Heather.
Hi, thank you. Hey, everybody.
So we're going to be doing a 4-part series about the power of the mastermind. And many of you might be like, that sounds interesting. Well, what is this whole mastermind concept? The mastermind, at least where I was first exposed to this concept, was in the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is a great book. Many of you have heard of it. Some may have read it. And the really cool thing about the book is it's not just about being rich financially and money. It's also about creating a great life. And if you follow the principles in it, where he talks about definiteness of purpose, persistence, and all these great qualities, faith, to be able to create a world that you want to live in. So we're often, when we hear think and grow rich, we think money. And again, it's not just money. I want to emphasize that. I believe that we all deserve it all. We all can have it all. We can have great financial wealth, great physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. All those are very important. So that is my definition of rich. Wouldn't you agree, Heather?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, in the book, Think and Grow Rich, we kind of boil down the definition of the mastermind, which essentially is, or he calls a mastermind principle, which is very powerful. And the effect of having like-minded people together, working together towards a definite purpose, a clear purpose. Another way of describing this is that the value of the group is greater than the sum of the individual parts. Does that make sense? And what is a mastermind and what's not a mastermind? So some things that might come to mind is, you might say, a study club that I've been to, which are nice, dental study club, or a lecture or seminar, or even coaching itself. This is not the mastermind per se. Now, mastermind elements could arise because there's multiple people, but typically when you're in a study club or a lecture, it's more somebody speaking to you, or you're very topic oriented or very structured, a lot of structure. Whereas a mastermind, the power is in the organic nature of not having too much structure, but you have the definite purpose, the clear purpose. And that goes to the difference between strategy and tactics, because study clubs, lectures, seminars are very tactical. But we're looking for how to think outside a box, how to be innovative. And even coaching is a one-on-one conversation. And yes, there is somewhat of a mastermind because there's 2 people, but again, we're focusing on tactics, we're focusing on day-to-day, so just having a conversation with many people doesn't mean it's a mastermind. Just giving information doesn't mean it's a mastermind. And the definite purpose is a broad purpose, a strategy, life-changing. It's what you're looking to do. So the way I wouldn't define those as mastermind. So a little bit of my background and why masterminds are so important. And as I go through, you'll see my definition kind of take hold. But what I'm starting with right now is the mastermind is strategic, it's visionary. You're working with people that are like you, that have that intention. The group is, and this is very important with mastermind, you have to have a strong group, because in a group that works well together, you can't have too many egos. Because what happens when you're at a lecture? You have the ego speaker talking and you're listening. Or if you're in a study group, you have a few people that might be overpowering. That does not create a good group. A great mastermind group is everybody's in there, they're humble, supportive, they want to share and be open to create new ideas. And Heather, you and I love Dr. Brene Brown, and she talks about vulnerability. And vulnerability is directly proportionate, meaning the higher vulnerability is, and openness, the higher your chance for innovation and growth, which when we grow up, we sometimes think that's not always the case. Now, my story, many of you know my story, and I tell it in different ways, but essentially my father's a dentist. He said, don't go to dental school because you got to be good at business, and dentistry isn't good for that. And so I became a lawyer and a master of business. I was working to be a CEO. I wrote the best-selling book with Brian Tracy. I was a Tony Robbins top coach and consultant in the business division. And my father's practice was facing financial difficulty, near bankruptcy. I took over the marketing, but still things weren't changing. And that's where I brought you in, Heather. You were in retail, sales manager and trainer, Bloomingdale's theory, all that stuff. And we were able to take that $1 million practice and make it into over 2.3 million in less than 18 months. And so that's the story of why my shift, and Heather, your shift from being in the corporate world to going into dentistry, because we love dentists. They're so sweet. Mm-hmm. They're very open and caring people, and they have a tendency to be taken advantage of. So some are very closed and protected, but all of them want to help people live a great life, help their team. And that's what we love, fighting for them. And it means a lot to us, those conversations. But one part of the story I didn't talk about because, I don't want to make my whole conversations about me the whole time. I want to make it appropriate to them. But I had a spark in my mind that something in dentistry is valuable to serve. And I loved working with my father and helping him. So while I was at Tony Robbins, I was giving a client that was very, very successful lawyer. He had multiple law firms, right? Multiple law firms. And I think his businesses were doing 10 million, a lot. He was one of the top out there. And he then retired or transitioned out, and he started leading groups of lawyers around the country, very high-powered lawyers, in teaching them marketing, management, and this mastermind concept. And I started to help him and coach him on this and learn. I was fascinated. He invited me to some of his conferences to participate in the mastermind, to speak in different situations. And I was amazed at these ideas that would come up. It was very impressive. And even for myself, he invited me into his own elite mastermind where other business people like him were there. And I was there, kind of a newbie, but it was very enlightening. And I got the idea essentially from AllStar Dental Academy in the group. And I'm like, wow, just through that discussion. And literally it's been worth a lot of money, AllStar obviously, but not just the money, the ability to have a profession where I can serve dentists, wonderful dentists. I didn't know which way it was going to go, whether we were going to build, right, Heather, a marketing company or what we were going to do together. I just knew that we had the capability to serve, and this mastermind really put us in the direction where we felt, because sometimes we get so stuck in our mind thinking and analyzing versus what's in the heart. What is the bigger sense of it? And sometimes we make decisions from our head, not with the heart. It doesn't work well that way. And the mastermind helps get to the heart of it. And that was very, very powerful. And later I met other mastermind leaders and participated. And, I also had the great opportunity, Heather, to bring you over the last few years, you've been involved in the masterminds with me. And I think that's where we had a big shift, where you saw, wow, dentists need this. Because I'm always into ideas, but Heather, I always say you're the heart of the company. And so, yeah, you're welcome. And and so just tell me, because I'm kind of doing a monologue here, but what did you find so compelling about the mastermind concept for yourself when we were doing that?
Well, it was fascinating that you get to see everybody's different perspectives on things and how there's so much crossover. So that's the first thing. There's so much crossover, whether you're in the same type of business or different types of businesses, it's still a business. And so, especially from a marketing perspective, management perspective, operational perspective, there's so many things that we can learn from each other. And just in being with the group, I felt like I was kind of a newbie. And so I thought, well, what am I going to have to contribute? But I found that I was able to contribute things and give feedback and make suggestions. And the biggest thing for me was to see that even things that I never would have thought of for the business, that never would have even crossed my mind as being an issue or being something that we can implement or something that we can add, we're like, wow, look at all this really cool stuff that we never even contemplated. And so I think that, and also just talking with like-minded people and sharing ideas, it's just awesome. I loved it.
And what was cool, and you reminded me of this, is in our last mastermind, one of the mastermind leaders was about to make a decision, and his whole staff was like supporting him on it. And we pointed out to him that that direction would cost him a lot of money, millions. And he saw it, and he made a shift from that group that, he could have really hurt his business tremendously. And I think I alluded to it once before, but we really hammered it home here. And he was so happy that he was able to see that. So it was nice that we saw that magic moment. And
just to interject there for a second, that leads to two really important points about the mastermind. Is that the first is that, you mentioned this guy who leads it with his team, they were going to make this decision together. A lot of times when we're working on the same thing day in and day out with our team, we get kind of like blinders on, and we can't see other perspectives, and we can't see outside of that. And so having other people kind of look at it and analyze it gives you a bigger perspective and consider things you may not have ever considered before. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that dentists a lot of times are used to networking with just other dentists. So the fact that we've come from outside of dentistry, and you especially with your talents in working with all sorts of businesses, Fortune 500 companies, a lot of our dentists that are involved in AllStar tell me specifically that they really appreciate the fact that we're not just looking at it from a dental perspective, that you have to look at it from what are the best businesses doing, not just the best dentists, because dentists in general want to be more than that. I think that they want to elevate themselves. So just those 2 points I thought were important to mention.
And with dentists that are collaborating, unfortunately in study group clubs, you get somewhat of a myopic view, whereas it's different when you work with dentists in other places around the country that are helpful to see what they're doing, and even internationally to see what other dentists internationally are doing. And also with those type of dentists that are open-minded and push you and expand you, that's something special. But when you're with other dentists that kind of, or your team, where you get so into what's called group think, or you get so caught, then you can't think outside the box. And that is a killer. And it's another one of our silent killers we talked about, and that you don't see coming. You get lulled into the sense of complacency, and the mastermind can help break that complacency. It's very, very powerful. And so another mastermind leader of the group that we're a part of, he really encouraged us. And I know both these leaders have been encouraging us for years to do the mastermind. They said, you got to do masterminds for your students. And I just didn't think that dentists would find it valuable because they don't think strategically and this and that. And Heather, you were even kind of leery about, well, I don't know, but when you came to the group, you saw it and you were inspired. And I still was skeptical. But after speaking to some of our dentists, I was wrong, way wrong. And over the years, we've had dentists ask for something like this. But again, I'm kind of skeptical. Well, yeah, and so on. But since recently, we've personally met with our AllStar docs, many of our AllStar docs, and we were running this idea about the mastermind by them. Is something you would want? And Heather, they wanted it. And it has been a success to the point that we're doing this 4-part series to officially launch our mastermind. And when I say officially, it means it's already done. We've already filled up the mastermind. We still have some spots left, but it is a go. We have what we need to continue. And we're 2 months ahead of schedule because we didn't anticipate the demand for it. And also the intelligence. I'm really impressed with the dentists, how they get it and what I'm saying, and they want in. I thought you had to be an MBA to grasp the potential and the benefit. And again, I'm wrong, and I don't mind being wrong, because our goal at AllStar Dental Academy, and I think any business, is you want to give your clients what they need, what they want, and serve them and be world-class at doing that. It's not my place to say what they do need or they don't need. They're going to say, same thing with a patient. They're going to tell you what they need and what they don't need. So like I said, this has been very successful so far. And so we've launched a mastermind, and we call it Titanium, the AllStar Titanium Mastermind. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about it, because like I said, we're already filled our requirement to move forward on this prototype. And it's not a prototype anymore. And like I said, it's moving very quickly. And so I wanted to officially make it available to AllStar students first. And those that are listening that aren't AllStar students, I still would encourage you to apply. You can join AllStar and become considered for it. Because let me tell you something, this is not anyone gets in. This is an application process. And we're going to have an interview, because I've talked to different dentists. And I've actually had a dentist on the phone recently that I was considering to do the program. And once I heard that person talk, I go, no, this is not going to be good. I have one of our dentists, it's a $7.2 million practice. And I had on the advertising copy that top dentist apply for the Titanium Mastermind. He said to me, no. And you're going to hear from him soon. Not in this podcast, not in this episode, but in a future one. But he's like, no, we don't want people. I'm a $7.2 million practice. I don't consider myself top. We don't want people that think that way. You got to be humble. You got to be open. And so, that's the mastermind already beginning as it develops. To see it's organic. It's not what I think. I get ideas, and as dentists are giving me feedback, it's growing, it's morphing to something that's greater than what we could have done individually or alone. So with the Titanium Mastermind, let me just tell you a little bit about what's included, the requirements, and what's going on. And then I'll give you, as we conclude this episode, some things to do and some upcoming preview of our upcoming episodes. So what we're doing with the Mastermind, and I'm going to provide a link to, it's allstardentalacademy.com/titanium. And I'll provide a link in the various media forms that you're listening or watching or reading about. What we're going to have is both a virtual component. We're going to be meeting once a month and for 90 minutes with the group. And I'm very mindful that we're all busy, and I want to make sure that we don't put too much requirements of time. So it's not a huge time commitment, but when we're meeting together, it's going to be very high octane and very beneficial and inspiring. That's the goal. And my job is facilitate all these wonderful people. And my first job is to interview everybody to make sure that they're a good fit. Everybody speaks to me before they get in to see if they're a good fit for this. And so we're going to be talking about issues of case acceptance, management, hiring, leadership. And those are just a few of the sampling, but really it's going to dictate what all of you want, what's needed. Hiring associates, adding practices, depends. What does the group want? We're going to discuss that. We're going to be bringing top experts that are going to support what we talk about on a monthly basis. Every year, we are going to meet live. There's something special about live. Really, the virtual mastermind monthly is the warm-up act to a 2-day live event that we will be hosting. Right now, we are hosting it in beautiful Fort Lauderdale in February. This is going to be, it's really beautiful in February on the beach. So that's where we typically like to hold these, but we're always open to changing it as our mastermind, what they want to do. But so far they're liking Florida because it's beautiful there. And a 2-day event. It's gonna be a very, very nice upscale event where we're going to be very personal together, masterminding those issues at a deeper level, making friendships. And one of our recent docs, who we're going to hear about them in the next episode, talk with them, he was saying to me that something special about his experience with masterminds is not just the mastermind, but all the relationships you make in between discussions. So we're going to have a private forum and project management system to keep ourselves organized, to collaborate even between meetings, so we can further those discussions and those relationships. Very, very powerful. And one of the questions a lot of doctors want to know is, how can you prevent, I don't want my competitor to get all this information. This is confidential discussions, and we all sign confidentiality agreements, so we don't share this outside of our discussion. How do we prevent competition? Well, as a Titanium member, you get to block out 2 zip codes. So you prevent competition in your area to joining to group. So we know that that's your spot. And when you have it, you exclude those others into the group or from the group. Those are some of the aspects. Also, if you do not have the AllStar Dental MBA program, it's a 30-hour program, a $3,000 program that will be also provided as a part of the mastermind group. If you have it, great. If you don't, you get it. We also are running some other specials. The specials will be on the page. I'm not going to discuss them now because they may change by the time you're listening to this. We also have special pricing, and that's always changing based on when you get in, and also how many spots we have left. I think we only have about 5 or 6 spots available. So it depends when you come in as to what we'll have. Now, the requirements of joining the Titanium is you must be a practicing dentist. You should be producing at least $1 million in revenue. And I think I mentioned you're an AllStar student. And one of the other requirements I haven't put on the site, I might add it, but this is part of the interview process, is do you have the right personality? Are you going to share? Are you open? We don't want complainers, and we don't want egomaniacs. We want those that are open and want to share and want to grow, that are successful and want to continue to be successful. So you can have many areas. You might have things that you definitely need to do. There are other dentists in here that are doing great, and they just want to see, what am I missing? How do I stay sharp? So there are many reasons to do that. And so what I ask for you to do is check out the page. And when you go at the bottom of the page, you can fill out a form to basically, that will go to Heather. And you fill out the form basically saying that you would like to learn more about it, about what's going on with it, have an interview with us to see if you're a good candidate for it. So you can fill that form out, or you can just email Heather at allstardentalacademy.com directly. So either the form or email her, either way, or call, and you'll be speaking to Heather first. And then if you meet the requirements, then we'll have a conversation if there's a spot available. If spots aren't available, we'll have a waiting list, and we might open a subsequent groups if needed, because you want to keep the size not too large, whereby you don't get the experience. So that's
Alex.
Yeah.
Quick interjection. You mentioned that they need to be a practicing dentist. Do we need to differentiate? They also need to be an owner of the practice.
Yeah. They don't have to be practicing, meaning they have to be an owner of the practice.
Right.
So we have dentists that don't even do dentistry, but they own. Very good point. So you got to be a dentist. You got to own your business. You can have partners, and we have partner rates where we can have multiple partners participate. That's okay too, but you got to own the business. Now, if you're not a dentist, I guess it's okay too if you own it, if the states allow you to, if you're in a state that allows you to do that. But because again, we're thinking strategy. Okay. And that may be appropriate. So you have to own the business in dentistry. Bottom line, whether you practice or not is not as relevant because this is not a clinical discussion. This is a business discussion. Great point, Heather.
Mm-hmm.
And just to kind of a little teaser, in our next couple of podcasts, we're going to hear to some of our mastermind members and what their experience has been in multiple masterminds, whether it's masterminding with us or in their own experience in other ones, and what they found beneficial, both from a qualitative standpoint, meaning the soft skills are very important, leadership, how they became as a person, what value they got. And then we'll go a little deeper in the subsequent one after that as to what specific quantitative results have you seen in your business. So right off the bat, I can say for me, and I'll repeat this for me with the masterminds, I grew a lot as a leader and visionary, and it really helped a lot on that aspect. And then from a quantitative, I have AllStar Dental Academy, and it's been profitable. And obviously this mastermind group is another product of the mastermind groups that I participate in. And I have other things that will be coming out over the next several years that are in works because of the mastermind pushing me to say, you got to do more for your dentist. You got to give them, you got to serve more, create products that they want. You know, we launched a hiring program that is already part of that came from the mastermind. And that has been, we're on a waiting list for that. So the mastermind is the gift that keeps on giving, everyone. It really is. So I encourage you, if this all sounds interesting with you, this is not a hard sales thing. This is something that, look around, learn about, talk with us. And I think it's a great benefit for the practice, for your practice, if you're in this type of arena. And then the final podcast or final episode of our discussion, I have a surprise for you. That's going to be very, very exciting regarding our mastermind. So I'm not going to give that away too soon. You might figure it out as you research, but we'll save that a little later. Heather, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Because I want this discussion to kind of frame the importance of the mastermind, what it's been for us, and just kind of briefly detail our titanium mastermind program, what it is, just to kind of whet the appetite for them to explore further.
I think you did a really good description and covered everything. I'm not thinking of anything that you left out. I just love it. I think it's extremely beneficial in talking with the doctors that we've spoken with. It's just amazing to hear how a lot of them have been seeking out, trying to find something like this. And they were just like so glad and so grateful that this is something that we're doing. We've had a lot of our doctors that are on AllStar for 5+ years. So this is just a way to take things to the next level, continue serving them. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
Again, it's been really, and this is something about the mastermind, it's been really surprising, the feedback and rewarding, because it gives us an opportunity to go deeper with these dentists and our members to have, because when we speak, it's so wonderful. I know one of your things is you just love talking to dentists. You love talking to them, and you love supporting them, and you love having them be successful, and it just gives another reason to do that, but at a deeper level, and a very profound opportunity. And it does kind of spawn gratitude that this has gone on, and again, it's a ride, it's a learning experience, and you're right. And that was one of the most surprising things as we begin our investigation, how many of them said, I wanted this. Some of them have done them and go, I wanted it. And they'll say, I want it this way works. And are you doing it this way? I'm like, yes, I'm doing it now this way. Thank you. And a lot of feedback. And there are others that are like, I never knew that existed, but I always wanted something like that. And so that's what we're
I think
hearing.
they're looking for that connection that, you know, one of our doctors that's in the mastermind currently said, we don't want to feel alone, like we're alone in our practice, that it's kind of a networking. And I think of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where he talks about that interdependence and how, you know, if we're just doing things on our own, it's not as special, and that magic doesn't happen as much as when we're all kind of interconnected, and that our goal is this common vision of, you know, what we stand for: amazing customer service and just really giving that great patient care, having businesses that serve our lives and that we can, you know, continue to serve others that way. So I think it just is a really good complement.
And one of the things that I just like to quickly mention, and you'll see this when you visit the Titanium page, is this: some of the experts that will be participating. Of course, our head instructor, Larry Gazzardo, will be with us. I will be there. And we will have a top HR specialist with us. We're going to have specialists on fee-for-service and case acceptance. We have Dr. Lauren Levine, the digital dentist that had just recently spoke to. He's like, I'm in, Alex. Whatever you're doing, I'm in. Let's do it. And he's always wonderful to bring all on technology and protection systems. And we have also those that have not been mentioned that we will get as needed. But I'll tell you this, as I bring this episode to a close, there are a lot of wonderful features that we have and will continue to be adding to this program. But the number one thing is the collaboration. And you can't script that. You can't plan for that. The only thing that I can do is make sure I'm a good facilitator. Number one, my obligation, and you too, Heather, is to interview the right people, not allow the wrong people in, and to facilitate properly. And that if there are some apples that don't fit, to remove them. So anyways, that's just a little kind of tasty taste of the Titanium Mastermind. We're just so happy to share our story and what's going on with AllStar. This is very, very exciting. Again, I'll provide the link, allstardentalacademy.com/titanium. That's where you can go, and we'll have a link below. Like I said, you can fill the form out if you're interested, or you can email heather@allstardentalacademy.com. And if you're just enjoying the great information and topic areas, just stay tuned. We have more episodes coming regarding the Mastermind, and exciting to go deeper and share with you this wonderful concept. So until next time, go out there and be
an all-star.